Okay, so have you ever wished you had someone or something that could, read between the lines for you, like tell you what someone really means, not just what their words are saying?
I think we've all been there,
Hmm.
especially in this age of emails and social media where it feels like tone gets lost so easily.
Exactly. And that's what's so fascinating about the identify tone prompt. It's like giving AI that ability to understand not just what we're saying, but how we're saying it.
It's like giving AI emotional intelligence, which, might sound a bit sci-fi, but it's becoming very real.
It really is. And the potential applications are huge. I mean, we dug into this in the Generative AI Professional Prompt Engineering Guide, and some of the use cases were just mind blowing.
Absolutely. It's not just for tech geeks anymore. We're talking everything from like customer service to analyzing literature.
Seriously. So imagine this, you feed this AI a piece of text, right? It could be anything, an email, a social media post, even a poem. And it analyzes it and tells you the tone.
And we're not just talking positive or negative here. This thing gets specific.
Right, like way more nuance than a human could probably even put into words. It uses terms like optimistic, sarcastic, even melancholic.
It's incredible. And this isn't just, some parlor trick. Think about how much we rely on understanding tone in our daily communication.
Oh my gosh, constantly.
Right. Like, have you ever totally misread an email and then, like, agonized over it for hours?
Ugh, don't even get me started. I've been there way too many
This
times.
AI could be a game changer for that. It
Yeah.
could, like, help you figure out if that message from your boss is actually angry or just, a little direct.
Or what about if you're a company and you're trying to understand how your customers feel about you? This AI could analyze all of their feedback, like instantly, and tell you, are people happy? Annoyed?
It's a goldmine of data. And it's not just about emails and customer reviews. Think about literature. Students could use this technology to analyze the tone of different books, which could totally change how they understand them.
Okay, so we've established this is cool, but how does it actually work? Does it have like a secret emotion dictionary or something?
Well, it's not quite that simple. It's not just about like matching words to emotions. It's more about recognizing those complex patterns in language, similar to how we do as humans.
Right, because we can usually tell when someone's being sarcastic, even if they don't like use the word sarcasm.
Exactly. It's the delivery, the word choices, even things like punctuation.
And this AI has been trained on massive amounts of data to recognize all of those tiny little cues.
Exactly. It looks at specific words and phrases, but also things like sentence structure, punctuation. It even considers the overall context.
So wait, if I write an email that's just one long sentence with a million exclamation points.
I mean, it might raise some flags, but the more information it has, the better. The Generative AI Professional Prompt Engineering Guide gave this great example. It said the AI can even tell the difference between a formal tone, like in a research paper, and an informal tone, like you'd use with friends.
Wow. I mean, to us, that seems obvious, but for an AI to pick up on that, that's actually pretty amazing.
Yeah.
It really is. It makes you realize how much gets lost in translation, even when we're, like, technically speaking the same language.
That's so true. Think about like getting a text that just says, okay,
Oh, the dreaded, okay.
right. Depending on the context, that could mean anything.
Seriously, it could be like, okay, cool, or it could be, okay, I'm secretly fuming.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this AI could like help us avoid those kinds of misunderstandings or at least make us more aware of them.
Okay, so we've talked about emails, we've talked about customer feedback, but what about like the bigger picture? Could this AI be used to analyze, I don't know, social media posts during like a major event?
Absolutely. Imagine being able to analyze the tone of like thousands of tweets during an election or something.
It'd be like having a real-time pulse on public opinion.
Exactly. And the applications go way beyond social media. Businesses could use this technology to track how people feel about their brand. Maybe even spot a potential PR crisis before it, like, blows up.
Okay, now this is all starting to sound a little too good. I mean, there have to be some limitations, right? Like, AI isn't perfect.
You're right to be cautious. As with any tool, it's not foolproof. Tone can be really subjective.
Oh, totally. What I think is funny, someone else might find offensive.
Right. And while this AI has been trained on a ton of data to try and account for those nuances, there will always be those edge cases. Context is super important.
So, like, a short sentence or phrase would be harder to analyze than, say, like, a whole email thread.
Exactly. The more information the AI has to work with, the more accurate its analysis is going to be.
Yeah,
Think of it like this. You can't really understand someone's personality based on just one tweet.
that's a good point. Okay, so what about things like poetry or like really figurative language? That seems like it would be tricky for an AI to analyze.
You're absolutely right. When we get into highly stylized writing, even humans often disagree about the tone.
Yeah, like, is the author being sincere? Ironic. I feel like even I struggle with that sometimes.
Exactly. And those are the kinds of things that even the most advanced AI might miss.
So it's more of a starting point then? Like it could flag something as potentially having like a really complex tone and then say, hey, human, you might want to take a closer look at this one.
Precisely. It's like a helpful assistant, not a replacement.
Right, which is something we should probably keep in mind with AI in general.
Absolutely. It's about augmenting our own abilities, not replacing them entirely.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. We've gone from what even is an AI prompt to talking about this super powerful tool that can like actually understand tone. We've talked about what it's good at, what its limitations are. But before we wrap up, I want to leave our listeners with a bit of a thought experiment here. Imagine you have this identified tone technology at your fingertips, right? How do you think it would change how you interact with, well, everything?
What a fascinating question. Imagine being able to read a news article and not just understand, the facts of the story, but also the tone the journalist is using. Are they trying to persuade you? Are they being objective?
You could even start to notice those subtle ways that like advertisers use language to try and get you to buy things.
Absolutely. It's about developing a deeper awareness of all those hidden messages that are all around us.
It's like you'd be able to see the Matrix or something.
In a way, it's about becoming a more critical thinker, more informed citizen, and maybe even just a better communicator ourselves.
Well said. And on that note, I think we'll wrap up our deep dive into the fascinating world of the identified tone prompt. This has been a really interesting conversation.
I completely agree. Until next time, everybody, stay curious.